And there was no way Earth was prepared, after only a year since the Danik first appeared at their doorstep. Most races would surrender immediately and hope to get away with their lives, as the Danik did after just 2 days of fighting. Except, of course, the humans. As soon as the Zanzi fleet arrived near the system's largest gas giant to regroup and begin their attack, a small fleet of a dozen cruiser-class ships assembled near Earth to defend their home. As the Zanzi approached the asteroid belt, the fleet grew steadily until it matched the Zanzi in size, as more ships jumped in from seemingly nowhere. And when the Zanzi crossed the belt, the human fleet sped to meet them in the middle, on a small red planet called Mars. When both forces collided, the battle was more even than anyone thought it could be. Although the Danik ships originally had poor shields and weaponry just a year prior, the human cruisers and battleships seemed to match their Zanzi counterparts, trading blow for devastating blow. The Zanzi fleet was whittled down to 50 ships, including their flagship dreadnought and a few carriers meant for subjugating a planet, battling against 60 human cruisers and destroyers all intent on driving back the enemy. Eventually, the Zanzi decided to retreat. The dreadnought turned away from Earth, attempting to jump back to friendly territory before it was destroyed. Before it and the remaining ships could, though, the 3 largest human carriers released a small wave of fast troop transports, numbering nearly 500, each directed at a specific Zanzi ship. While the fleet was attempting to flee, they failed to see the transports punch into their ships' hulls and lock in before jumping away into a nearby allied system, human marines in tow. The scouting probe watched as the human ships hovered near Mars, as if waiting for the Zanzi ships to return and renew their attack. But the Zanzi ships were gone for good. They had retreated. Never once had a Zanzi full fleet been so battered that they were forced to fall back. No race's military was capable of standing up to them in a battle and going toe-to-toe. Except, evidently, the humans. The Zanzi leaders were shocked at the defeat. An entire full fleet and 4 million servicemen, reduced to quarter strength, by the effort of a single planet and what were a bunch of fumbling apes just 400 days ago? There was outrage at this turn of events, and the Zanzi generals called for the flag admiral to be reprimanded, executed, and perhaps even demoted to midshipman afterwards. However, communications with the flagship dreadnought were never answered, and the ship was presumed destroyed. This was even worse. One of their prize flagships destroyed? Those ships were the top of the line, and there were only 9 of them in the entire coalition. It was unfathomable. The Zanzi prepared to mobilize their entire military, since the rest of the coalition didn't want to step in for a number of reasons. Their 4 remaining full fleets combined together and prepared to rendezvous with the survivors of their expeditionary force. On arrival, the fleet admirals were in for a pleasant surprise. Their prize dreadnought was not, in fact, destroyed. It hovered in place, surrounded by its supporting carriers and battleships, all 4 massive planet-killing cannons. Charged and ready? This too came as a surprise to the fleet admirals. It was standard protocol to never keep dreadnought cannons charged unless you were ready to fire. Otherwise, your ship's power would be drained, your shields would falter, and your cooling systems would eventually fail to do their job. It was too late that the 4 Zanzi admirals realized what had happened. By the time the call went out to engage evasive maneuvers, to divert all power to shields, to charge their own cannons, or to abandon ship entirely, as all 4 flagships had, in the chaos, forgotten to communicate with one another, the dreadnought facing them had fired its cannons with perfect accuracy. Each huge blast of energy, with the power of 1,000 nuclear warheads behind it, hit its target head-on. The force of the explosion wasn't enough to completely destroy the dreadnoughts, but it eliminated their shields, knocked out their main and backup reactors, and obliterated most of their support ships in the direct vicinity. As the 4 flagships went dark, all systems offline, the admirals watched through the glass windows of their bridges as the 60 human ships their colleague had faced in battle jumped in, turned towards the dreadnoughts, and launched waves of strike craft. 4 days later, the Zanzi signed a treaty of unconditional surrender to the newly formed Terran Union. It surrendered all of their slaves, surrendered their technology, and stated that they no longer own the 5 dreadnoughts that the joint human/Danik military now occupied, hovering ominously over the Zanzi homeworld's capital. Never had anyone stood up to the most powerful force in the galaxy and turned its own weapons against it. Not once had the Zanzi suffered a defeat so crushing, a defeat that would never again allow them to be as mighty as they once were. It seemed that nothing would ever be as powerful as they once were. Except, well, the humans.